Welcome to the Bible Quiz. From a murderer's cold deflection to a queen's breathtaking courage, 25 voices from the Old Testament are waiting to be identified. Every quote tells a story. Every story reveals a God who was there. Who said that? Let us find out. Question 1. Who told Moses, "I am who I am" at the burning bush? A. Moses. B. Elijah. C. Abraham. D. God. You have 10 seconds. Excellent. It's D. God. When Moses asked God what name to give the Israelites who sent him, God replied, "I am who I am." Exodus chapter 3, verse 14. Tell them, "I am has sent me to you." This is the most profound self-revelation of God's name in Scripture. The Hebrew name YHWH speaks of God's eternal self-existence. He depends on nothing outside himself. Jesus later echoed this title when he declared, "Before Abraham was born, I am." John chapter 8, verse 58. Question 2. Who responded to God's question with, "Am I my brother's keeper?" A. Cain. B. Abel. C. Adam. D. Seth. 10 seconds on the clock. Remarkable. It's A. Cain. After God accepted Abel's offering but not Cain's, Cain killed his brother. When God asked, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain replied with history's first recorded lie and its most chilling deflection, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" Genesis chapter 4, verse 9. God responded, "What have you done? Listen, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." This exchange has echoed through history as the defining question about human responsibility toward one another. Question 3. Who said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good"? A. Jacob. B. Joseph. C. Benjamin. D. Judah. 10 seconds to choose. Brilliant. It's B. Joseph. After Jacob died, Joseph's brothers feared he would take revenge for selling him into slavery. They begged his forgiveness. Joseph wept when he heard it. Genesis chapter 50, verses 19 to 20. He replied, "Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish the saving of many lives." This is one of Scripture's most profound statements about God's sovereignty over human evil and suffering. Question 4. Who declared, "Where you go, I will go to her mother-in-law"? A. Naomi. B. Orpah. C. Ruth. D. Boaz. You have 10 seconds. Outstanding. It's C. Ruth. After her husband died in Moab, Naomi told her daughters-in-law to return to their own families. Orpah left, but Ruth clung to her with one of Scripture's most beautiful declarations of loyalty. Ruth chapter 1, verses 16 to 17. "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God." Ruth left her homeland and her gods to follow an aging widow into an entirely unknown future. Question 5. Who wrote, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want"? A. Solomon. B. Asaph. C. Moses. D. David. The clock starts now. Amazing! It's D. David. Psalm chapter 23 opens with one of the most beloved declarations in all of Scripture. "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing." David, who had been a shepherd himself, drew on his personal experience of caring for helpless sheep. "He makes me lie down in green pastures. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Psalm chapter 23. This psalm has comforted more people at the point of death than perhaps any other passage in the entire Bible. Question 6. Who cried out, "Here I am, send me," in God's throne room? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Amos. You have 10 seconds. Powerful. It's A. Isaiah. In the year King Uzziah died, Isaiah saw the Lord on his throne with seraphim crying, "Holy, holy, holy." Isaiah chapter 6, verse 5. Isaiah cried, "Woe to me! I am ruined. I am a man of unclean lips. A seraph touched his mouth with a live coal. Your guilt is taken away." Then God asked, "Whom shall I send?" Isaiah's immediate reply, "Here am I. Send me." This is the great pattern of prophetic calling: conviction, cleansing, then consecration, repeated throughout Scripture. Question 7. Who wrote, "There is a time for everything under the sun"? A. David. B. Solomon. C. Asaph. D. Agur. 10 seconds on the clock. Incredible. It's B. Solomon. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verses 1 to 8 contains one of Scripture's most famous passages. "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to weep and a time to laugh." Solomon, who had experienced the full spectrum of human life, wealth, wisdom, pleasure, and despair, wrote these words as one who had searched for meaning and found it elusive apart from God. Question 8. Who praised God after losing his children and wealth in a single day? A. David. B. Abraham. C. Job. D. Moses. 10 seconds to choose. Astonishing. It's C. Job. On a single day, Job lost his oxen, donkeys, sheep, camels, servants, and all 10 of his children. Job chapter 1, verses 20 to 21. He tore his robe, shaved his head, fell to the ground and worshipped. "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing, one of the most extraordinary responses to catastrophic loss in all of Scripture. Question 9. Who told his son, "God himself will provide the lamb for the offering"? A. Jacob. B. Joseph. C. Isaac. D. Abraham. Your 10 seconds begin. Magnificent. It's D. Abraham. When Isaac asked his father, "The fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham answered, "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." Genesis chapter 22, verse 8. These words were more prophetic than Abraham knew. God provided a ram in the thicket at the last moment, and the place was named "The Lord Will Provide." Centuries later, this was understood as a picture of God providing his own son as the ultimate sacrifice on the very same mountain range. Question 10. Who asked God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" A. Moses. B. Aaron. C. Joshua. D. Caleb. The clock starts now. Splendid. It's A. Moses. When God commissioned Moses at the burning bush to lead Israel out of Egypt, Moses immediately protested, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" Exodus chapter 3, verse 11. God's reply was simple, "I will be with you." Moses then raised 4 more objections, including, "What if they don't believe me and I am not eloquent?" God addressed each one, appointing Aaron as his spokesman and still sending Moses. His reluctance is one of the most relatable responses to divine calling in all of Scripture. Question 11. Who fled to a cave saying, "I am the only one left"? A. Elisha. B. Elijah. C. Jeremiah. D. Amos. You have 10 seconds. Wonderful. It's B. Elijah. After his great victory on Mount Carmel, Elijah fled from Jezebel and traveled 40 days to Mount Horeb. There God asked, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 10. He replied, "I have been very zealous for the Lord. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me." God gently corrected him, "I have reserved 7,000 in Israel who have not bowed to Baal." Even the greatest prophets can crash into despair after their greatest victories. Question 12. Who testified that God's angel had shut the mouths of the lions? A. Shadrach. B. Nehemiah. C. Daniel. D. Ezra. 10 seconds on the clock. Glorious. It's C. Daniel. After spending the night in the lion's den, Daniel called out to King Darius at dawn, "My God sent his angel and he shut the mouths of the lions." Daniel chapter 6, verse 22. "They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight." Darius was overjoyed, had Daniel lifted out without a wound, and threw his accusers into the den. He then issued a decree commanding all people to fear and reverence the God of Daniel, the living God who rescues and saves and performs signs and wonders. Question 13. Who said, "If I perish before going to the king"? A. Vashti. B. Hadassah. C. Ruth. D. Esther. 10 seconds to choose. Phenomenal. It's D. Esther. When Mordecai urged Esther to approach the king to expose Haman's plot, she hesitated. Going to the king uninvited was punishable by death. Mordecai warned, "If you remain silent at this time, relief will come from another place, but you and your family will perish." Esther, chapter 4, verse 16. Esther called a 3-day fast, then replied, "Go gather the Jews in Susa and fast for me. When this is done, I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish." Esther said, "If I perish," and walked into the throne room anyway. If her courage inspires you today, subscribe, share this quiz, and let us keep going. Question 14. Who said, "The God of heaven will give us success while rebuilding Jerusalem"? A. Nehemiah. B. Ezra. C. Zerubbabel. D. Haggai. Your 10 seconds begin. Admirable. It's A. Nehemiah. When Sanballat and Tobiah mocked the Jews for attempting to rebuild Jerusalem's walls, Nehemiah gave a defiant answer. "The God of heaven will give us success." Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 20. "We, his servants, will start rebuilding, but you have no share or claim in Jerusalem." Despite constant opposition, threats, and conspiracies, Nehemiah and the people completed the walls in just 52 days. His enemies recognized that this work had been done with the help of God. Question 15. Who wrote, "The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure"? A. Isaiah. B. Jeremiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Daniel. The clock starts now. Beautiful. It's B. Jeremiah. Jeremiah, chapter 17, verses 9 to 10, records one of Scripture's most penetrating diagnoses of human nature. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind. This verse comes from the prophet known as the Weeping Prophet, who suffered greatly for his message. Jeremiah ministered during the collapse of Judah, witnessing firsthand the devastating consequences of the deceitful human heart throughout the nation's history. Question 16. Who confessed to Samuel, "I have sinned. I violated the Lord's command"? A. David. B. Samuel. C. Saul. D. Jonathan. You have 10 seconds. Extraordinary. It's C. Saul. After God commanded Saul to completely destroy the Amalekites, Saul spared King Agag and kept the best livestock. When Samuel arrived, Saul insisted he had obeyed. Samuel replied, "What then is this bleating of sheep?" 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 24. Saul finally confessed, "I have sinned. I violated the Lord's command because I was afraid of the people and gave in to them." Samuel declared, "Because you rejected the word of the Lord, he has rejected you as king." This was the fatal turning point of Saul's entire reign. Question 17. Who said, "Speak, for your servant is listening to God as a child"? A. Eli. B. Elijah. C. Elisha. D. Samuel. 10 seconds on the clock. . Stunning! It's D. Samuel. The young Samuel was sleeping in the temple when he heard a voice calling his name. He ran to Eli 3 times before Eli realized the Lord was calling the boy. 1 Samuel, chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Eli instructed Samuel, "If he calls again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" When God called again, Samuel replied exactly as instructed. God then delivered a major prophetic message through this child, beginning the extraordinary ministry of Israel's last judge and first kingmaker. Question 18. Who prayed, "Let me die with the Philistines," before pushing the pillars? A. Samson. B. Gideon. C. David. D. Jephthah. 10 seconds to choose. Marvelous. It's A. Samson. Blinded and imprisoned in Gaza, Samson was brought to entertain the Philistines at their temple, where 3,000 men and women watched from the roof. He asked to be placed between the supporting pillars. Judges, chapter 16, verses 28 to 30. He prayed, "Sovereign Lord, strengthen me just once more." He pushed with all his strength. The temple collapsed on the rulers and all the people. Samson killed more Philistines in his death than he had killed during his entire life. Question 19. Who told Israelite spies, "I know the Lord has given you this land"? A. Jael. B. Rahab. C. Deborah. D. Abigail. Your 10 seconds begin. Perfect. It's B. Rahab. When the 2 Israelite spies entered Jericho, Rahab hid them on her roof and protected them from the king's soldiers. She declared, "I know the Lord has given you this land. A great fear of you has fallen on us, for the Lord your God is God in heaven above and on the earth below." Joshua chapter 2, verses 9 to 11. She asked only that her family be spared. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 31 lists Rahab among the great heroes of faith, and she later became an ancestor of King David and of Jesus. Question 20. Who asked to be called Mara after returning from Moab as a widow? A. Ruth. B. Orpah. C. Naomi. D. Miriam. The clock starts now. Insightful. It's C. Naomi. When Naomi returned to Bethlehem from Moab after losing her husband and both sons, the whole town was stirred and asked, "Can this be Naomi?" She replied, "Don't call me Naomi, it means pleasant. Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter." Ruth, chapter 1, verses 20 to 21. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Yet even in her bitterest moment, God was already at work through Ruth to restore everything Naomi had lost. Question 21. Who declared, "As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord"? A. Caleb. B. Moses. C. Phinehas. D. Joshua. You have 10 seconds. Victorious. It's D. Joshua. At the end of his life, Joshua gathered all Israel and challenged them to choose whom they would serve. He listed all God's mighty acts from Abraham to the conquest. Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15. Then he declared, "If serving the Lord seems undesirable, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord." The people responded with a unified pledge of loyalty, and Joshua sealed it with a large stone as a covenant witness. Question 22. Who said, "The serpent deceived me and I ate" when questioned by God? A. Eve. B. Sarah. C. Rachel. D. Leah. 10 seconds on the clock. Superb. It's A. Eve. When God asked the woman what she had done, Eve replied, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Genesis, chapter 3, verse 13. Both Adam and Eve deflected responsibility. Adam blamed the woman blamed the serpent. The Apostle Paul later wrote, "The woman was deceived and became a sinner." 1 Timothy, chapter 2, verse 14. Eve's acknowledgement of being deceived, while insufficient to remove responsibility, stands in contrast to Adam's attempt to implicate even God himself in his failure. Question 23. Who sneered at David, "Am I a dog that you come with sticks?" A. Saul. B. Goliath. C. Sisera. D. Sennacherib. 10 seconds to choose. Triumphant. It's B. Goliath. When Goliath saw David coming, young, carrying only a shepherd's staff, he was contemptuous. 1 Samuel, chapter 17, verses 43 to 44. He said, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" He cursed David and threatened, "Come here and I will give your flesh to the birds." David's reply showed the full contrast of their worldviews. "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel whom you have defied." Question 24. Who challenged Esther with, "Who knows if you came for this time?" A. Esther. B. Haman. C. Mordecai. D. Ahasuerus. Your 10 seconds begin. Exceptional. It's C. Mordecai. When Mordecai learned of Haman's plot to destroy all the Jews, he urged Esther to go to the king. When she hesitated, he warned, "If you remain silent, relief will come from another place, but you and your family will perish." Esther, chapter 4, verse 14. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this? This challenge has become one of the most quoted verses in Scripture about courage, calling, and God's hidden providential hand in human affairs. Question 25. Who asked Elijah for a double portion of his spirit before the whirlwind? A. Gehazi. B. Elijah. C. Micaiah. D. Elisha. The clock starts now. Sensational. It's D. Elisha. As Elijah and Elisha walked together knowing Elijah would be taken up, Elijah asked, "What can I do for you before I am taken?" Elisha replied, "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit." 2 Kings, chapter 2, verses 9 to 10. Elijah said, "If you see me when I am taken, it will be yours." A chariot of fire appeared, and Elijah went up in a whirlwind. Elisha picked up the fallen cloak, struck the Jordan, and the river parted. The watching prophets declared, "The spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha." 25 Old Testament voices. Incredible. Now here is a bonus to stir the comments. One villain in today's quiz answered God's question with a cold-blooded lie, then asked the most chilling question in Scripture. What was that question? 4 words. Drop it below. See you next time.